Now, from Toledo's news leader, this is WTOL at 11, your morning, Saturday in HD.
When we come back, it is a topic that we don't hear about very often, but our next guests say it's a serious problem that is often overlooked.
It affects our children. We'll explain what it is when we come back, plus a full look at your weekend forecast. It's 8:08. Don't go away. Thank you, Kimberly. We all want children to have the best chances to live full, wonderful lives. Fetal alcohol syndrome can hurt children, though, and cause birth defects and other problems.
That's right. Tomorrow, actually, is Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Awareness Day. Sister Suzette Fisher and Cheryl Kaiser are here now to tell us more about fetal alcohol syndrome and what it can do to the brain. Good morning, ladies. Thanks for being here. I know this is a very serious topic. For folks that may not know, what is fetal alcohol syndrome?
Well, fetal alcohol syndrome is a syndrome that a child could have if the mother's drinking during pregnancy, and it can cause permanent brain damage. We know now that it's actually a spectrum, so a child could, depending on how much alcohol is used and what was going on with the baby when the alcohol was used during the pregnancy, the child could have fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, which could be very severe to just some subtle issues. But nonetheless, any alcohol use during pregnancy is dangerous.
And how many children does this affect?
Right now we know that it's about 1 in 100, and that's probably a low estimate.
So that is startling.
Yes,
1 in 100.
yes.
And like you were saying, this is a spectrum, so it may not be severe in all cases.
Right. Every child is different depending on the metabolism and how they the amount of alcohol that was used during pregnancy. We know that there's no known safe amount of alcohol used during pregnancy. And if you look here, we've got a little baby that's 12 weeks old in the womb, and that's about the same size as an egg, and we know that an egg has a similar consistency as human cells. And so if you pour alcohol, which if mom drinks alcohol, the alcohol flows freely into the through the placenta, and so the baby is kind of steeped in alcohol because they receive much more than the woman does, right, because of the size of the woman. And then if you notice here, we have the alcohol was poured on a couple weeks ago. And here it was just yesterday, and you can see that the alcohol just basically begins to, shrink and cook the egg. Alcohol is a teratogen. It can cause birth defects, both physical and mental birth defects. It's the leading known cause of mental retardation.
And now, Cheryl, you have an adopted daughter.
I do.
Who has fetal alcohol syndrome. Now, tell me about her situation. You were not aware of this when you adopted her, correct?
No. She was 11 months old when we adopted her. She has alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorders. It is one of the diagnoses on the umbrella term of the spectrum, fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. So she does not have fetal alcohol syndrome, which only means she does not show the physical characteristic differences. Other than that, she has the brain damage. She has the challenges from day-to-day living of trying to even drive at the age of 31 now. She still has the daily challenges just trying to drive through traffic. No expressways, no heavy congested areas, because it requires the brain to do multiple tasks in a short amount of time, in just seconds. Think about it, when you want to switch to the left-hand lane when you're driving, you have to look forward, you have to look at your mirrors, you have to look over your shoulder in your blind spot, you have to keep track of your speed, you have to make a quick decision, and once you make that decision, you actually execute that decision. That is a lot of things going through that frontal lobe of the brain, but yours is healthy and you can do it smoothly. Hers is damaged, which means there's delays, and delays can be tragic in traffic.
And Cheryl, you said that your daughter was 16 when she was
diagnosed.
When she was diagnosed. So for those 15 years, what indicated to you that maybe something wasn't quite what it should be in that time?
We started with putting single word language in her at the age of 2. We had to draw pictures and actually show her, this is a spoon, this is a fork. At the age of 3, we put sentences together. Things that naturally occur with a child, we were manually putting this into her. Through elementary school, 3 weeks into the year, the teacher knew there was a problem. We switched schools. Through her junior high, the anger outbursts started showing up. Through high school, we then were exposed to the depression and went through 2 years of suicide attempts.
Oh.
So it is serious, and it's permanent.
Certainly a harrowing story you have to tell. If there is one piece of good news, is not what I'll call it, but you said it is totally preventable. It's very simple in a sense for people to prevent it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. The other thing is that if you can look here, the brain, this is a brain of a typical developing individual, and this is a brain of a child with fetal alcohol syndrome or on the spectrum. And you notice this one's much smaller. And if you look at the other side, this red part is the corpus callosum, and it's much smaller, and sometimes it's just misformed or doesn't develop well. And that's the piece that helps make the connections in the brain from the left side to the right side of the brain. So alcohol can do almost anything.
Okay, and you said there is no safe amount of alcohol
There is
to
no
drink
safe amount of alcohol to drink during pregnancy.
All right, ladies, thank you.
You are most
Thanks
welcome.
for being here with
you.
us this morning. Coming up, we will check back.